Hi there, this is Lisa, and I am so happy you stopped to join me for today's video. It's all about stamping with watercolor markers today. I'm using carrying markers to do some watercolor stamping using my Misty and a favorite Unity Stamp Company sentiment kit. I can't wait to share with you how easy this technique is to create some really beautiful watercolored cards using the So Kind, So Caring, So You sentiment kit from Unity Stamp Company. I'm starting out with some watercolor paper in my Misty. I do prefer watercolor paper for this technique, though you could try cardstock. The water just tends to move more freely on watercolor paper, so you get a more accurate watercolor look than you would on cardstock. It would just look different, but each has its place, and I don't think it would be wrong either way. Now I have a couple colors of carrying markers. I'll put them in my description because I can't remember the names right now, but they're kind of in the teal blue family. And I'm going to start by coloring in the blooms with the lighter of the teal color. And I'm looking at my stamp image to kind of figure out where those blooms are, because it's kind of a mixture of leaves and vintage blooms. And so I'm just kind of getting the general area. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm just scribbling on using a carrying watercolor brush pen. You could use any water reactive marker. Copics will not work because they're alcohol inks, but you could do like a Tombow or any of the other watercolor markers that are water reactive out there. Next up, I grabbed the darker of the teal. This has a little bit more of a green to it, so I'm focusing on the leaves and then all the little dots that are in the background of the stamp as well. Now I'm doing all this coloring at once. It doesn't matter, just make sure you cover your entire stamped image, grab a spray bottle and give it a light misting of water. I started out with a light misting first just to kind of see how that reacted. I didn't want to lose the definition of the stamp, so that's why I went with a little bit lighter water. And then I decided that I wanted a little bit more movement, so I added a little bit more water and then restamped again. And this is where the Misty kind of comes in handy because I can do that repeat process. And then I just dried that really well. You could set it aside and let it dry on its own, but as always, I'm in a hurry, so I decided to use my heat gun. Next, I grabbed a background stamp from Unity. This is Love Story. I just really love the scripty words and the little hearts that are in this background stamp. I inked that up in some Gina K craft ink and then stamped that right over the top of my image. Next, I stamped the sentiment, "You're So Sweet," with some VersaFine Clair black ink. And then I'm just going to trim that out with my scissors. Next, let's just layer everything up. I did some die cutting with the scallops and rectangles die set from Unity Stamp Company, layered the black mat over some craft cardstock. Then I'm just going to tie a bow around my center panel with some natural burlap string. And I'm just going to tie this in a knot after I wrapped it around 3 times. And then to create a loopy bow, I'm going to wrap that twine around my fingers probably about 3 times, leaving a bit of a tail on either side of those loops. And now I'm going to cheat and just lay those loops right over my knot, and then grab the tail ends of the knot and tie that over my loops. And that's going to give me my loopy bow. This does leave me with 2 tails, and you can embrace those and keep those, but my tails were long enough that I could grab one set and wrap them around the back of the panel to hide them. So then I only have 1 set of tails from the bow. And then I'm just going to grab a piece of Scotch tape and tape those down so they don't flop out on me. Just going to add some foam adhesive to that center panel and then pop that up right in the middle. Popped up my sentiment after I trimmed that out and placed that right above my bow. And here is the finished card with our really easy watercolor stamping using the Carrying watercolor brush pens. I'll have all the supplies linked in the description of this video on my Dollhouse Designs YouTube channel and blog. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Plus, if you have any questions or sweet comment, post below. Thanks again so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed and that we'll craft again together soon. Bye.